I smoothed my hands over the silk dress, trying to calm the butterflies in my stomach. The rehearsal dinner was supposed to start in an hour, and everything was perfect. The fairy lights strung across the garden, the delicate peonies on every table, the champagne chilling in silver buckets. Tomorrow, I'd finally become Mrs. Josiah Ross. After 4 years together, our dream was about to come true. Melina? My soon-to-be sister-in-law's voice carried from the hallway. Do you have a minute? Come in, Autumn, I called, still fussing with my hair in the mirror. I could use another opinion on these earrings. The door opened, but Autumn didn't step inside. Her face was drawn, lacking its usual warmth. We need to talk, now. Something in her tone made my skin prickle. I turned away from the mirror, letting my hands drop to my sides. What's wrong? Not here. She glanced over her shoulder. Meet me in the garden, 5 minutes. Before I could respond, she was gone, leaving me standing alone with my reflection. The woman in the mirror looked uncertain now, her earlier glow dimming. I grabbed my wrap and headed downstairs, heels clicking against the wooden steps. The garden was eerily quiet, the fairy lights casting strange shadows. Autumn stood near the rose trellis, clutching a manila envelope. My chest tightened. What's going on? I asked, hating how small my voice sounded. I'm so sorry, she whispered. I tried to tell him not to do this today, but he insisted. She thrust the envelope toward me. He wanted you to have these before tomorrow. My fingers trembled as I opened it. The legal letterhead swam before my eyes, but certain phrases jumped out with brutal clarity. Petition for dissolution of marriage, irreconcilable differences, property division. I don't understand. The papers slipped from my grasp, scattering across the grass like dead leaves. We're getting married tomorrow. No, Autumn's voice cracked. You're not. Where is he? The world tilted sideways as understanding crashed over me. Where's Josiah? He's gone. He left this morning. Gone where? I demanded, but I already knew. The signs had been there, the late nights at work, the mysterious texts, the way he'd grown distant. I just hadn't wanted to see them. He's with Claire. Autumn wouldn't meet my eyes. They've been together for months. She's pregnant. Claire, his new assistant, 23 years old with perfect hair and an Instagram influencer smile. The one he'd assured me was just a colleague when I'd voiced concerns. You knew. The accusation tasted like acid. You knew and you didn't tell me. He's my brother, Melina. What was I supposed to do? Warn me. My voice echoed across the garden. Before I ordered the dress, booked the venue, sent the invitations, before I let myself believe in forever with someone who was already planning his escape. I wanted to, but nothing. I grabbed the envelope, crumpling it in my fist. You sat there through every dress fitting, every cake tasting, every stupid planning session. You helped me pick out china patterns while knowing he was building a life with someone else. Autumn reached for me, but I jerked away. Don't touch me. Don't you dare try to comfort me now. Please, just listen. To what? More lies? I laughed, and it sounded unhinged even to my own ears. God, I'm such an idiot. All those times you invited us over for dinner, insisted I join your book club, treated me like family. Was any of it real? Or were you just keeping me distracted while your brother made his exit strategy? It wasn't like that, she protested, but her face gave her away. 150 people are about to show up for my wedding, I said, my voice deadly calm. Who's gonna tell them? You? Your coward of a brother? Or should I just send a group text? Sorry, turns out the groom's been busy knocking up his secretary. Tears spilled down Autumn's cheeks. I'll handle it. I'll call everyone. How generous of you. I turned away, my legs somehow carrying me toward the house. Don't bother sending the gifts back. Consider them payment for services rendered. 4 years of my life, wasted on a lie everyone but me could see. Melina, wait! I didn't stop. I couldn't. Because if I stopped moving, I'd start feeling, and if I started feeling, I might never stop screaming. Behind me, the fairy lights flickered in the darkness, mocking the celebration that would never come. Tomorrow, instead of walking down the aisle, I'd be picking up the pieces of my shattered future. But first, I had a rehearsal dinner to cancel and a wedding dress to burn. And after that, Josiah Ross would learn exactly what happens when you mistake someone's kindness for weakness. The wedding dress hung in my closet like a ghost, taunting me. I hadn't slept, spending the night alternating between rage scrolling through 4 years of photos and fighting the urge to drive to Claire's apartment. Instead, I sat cross-legged on my bedroom floor at dawn, surrounded by the debris of my almost marriage. My phone buzzed again. Probably another concerned message from Thea. She'd been texting since midnight when I'd sent her a photo of the divorce papers with only 3 words. Wedding is off. I reached for the bottle of wine I'd opened hours ago, but my hand froze mid-motion. There, buried under a stack of cards, was the permission slip that had started everything. The innocent-looking document Josiah had asked me to sign 6 months ago, granting him access to my trust fund for wedding expenses. The memory hit like a punch to the gut. He'd been so casual about it, kissing my neck as I signed. Just a formality, baby. Makes things easier for the vendors. My fingers trembled as I opened my banking app. The trust fund balance glared back at me. 12,463. Last time I'd checked, it had been over $200,000. The scream built in my throat before I could stop it. I hurled my phone across the room, watching it crack against the wall. The sound of breaking glass was satisfying enough that I reached for the nearest photo frame. Melina? Thea's voice carried through the door, followed by the click of my spare key in the lock. I'm coming in, so please don't throw anything at me. She appeared in my doorway, taking in the chaos, the scattered photos, the empty wine bottle, my mascara-streaked face. Without a word, she stepped carefully through the mess and sat beside me. He took my money, I whispered. All of it. Thea's intake of breath was sharp. When? Last month, right after I signed over access. I laughed, the sound brittle. Probably needed it for the baby. Or maybe Claire has expensive taste in maternity wear. We're calling the police. No. I grabbed her arm as she reached for her phone. Not yet. He stole from you. And I'm going to make him pay. The clarity of the thought cut through my hangover haze. But not like that. Not with some messy legal battle where he gets to play victim and paint me as the bitter ex. Then how? I stood up, swaying slightly as I made my way to my laptop. Remember when Autumn added me to their family photo sharing account? The one she uses to back up everything from her phone? Thea's eyes widened. You still have access? She never revoked it. My fingers flew across the keyboard. And look what I found this morning while I couldn't sleep. The screen filled with messages, hundreds of them. Screenshots of conversations between Josiah and Autumn dating back months. Plans, warnings, strategies for keeping me distracted. Holy shit, Thea breathed, reading over my shoulder. She wasn't just covering for him, she was helping him plan everything. It gets better. I clicked through to a folder of photos. See this? The timestamp shows Josiah at Claire's apartment the same day he told me he was visiting his sick grandmother. And look who took the picture. Autumn, Thea said slowly. But why would she? Because she's always been jealous. The pieces had fallen into place during my sleepless night. She hated that Josiah found someone before she did. Hated that I got the perfect proposal, the perfect ring, the perfect life she thought she deserved. So she helped him destroy it. What are you going to do? I closed the laptop, turning to face my best friend. First, I'm going to get my money back. Then I'm going to make sure everyone knows exactly who they really are. Not just Josiah and Claire, but sweet, supportive Autumn, too. Melina, Thea's voice held a warning. Don't do anything crazy. Crazy would be letting them get away with this. I stood up, suddenly energized. Crazy would be playing the heartbroken victim while they build their perfect little family with my money. And what's your plan? Revenge porn? Social media warfare? That's not you. The old me died yesterday. I walked to the closet and yanked out the wedding dress. This is what they expect me to do: cry, drink, post sad quotes about betrayal. But I'm done being predictable. I grabbed my scissors and started cutting, the sound of shearing silk oddly satisfying. They want a show. I'll give them one. But first, I need you to help me with something. What? I held up my phone, displaying Autumn's backup folder. We're going to download everything, and then we're going to figure out exactly how deep this betrayal goes. The dress lay in ruins at my feet, white fabric scattered like surrender flags. But I wasn't surrendering. I was declaring war. Monday morning hit like a hangover, even though I'd been sober for 36 hours. The office buzzed with whispers as I walked to my desk, chin high, makeup perfect. Let them talk. I had work to do. Melina? Lionel appeared at my cubicle, coffee in hand. My mentor's face held none of its usual warmth. My office, now. I followed him down the hall, past curious eyes and not quite hidden phones. Someone had already updated the office gossip channel, no doubt. Sit, he said, closing the door, and explain why Josiah's lawyer called me this morning. My carefully constructed mask cracked. What? He claims you're harassing Claire at work, says you created a fake Instagram account to post about their relationship. I haven't. I stopped, the pieces clicking together. Show me. Lionel turned his monitor around. There it was, a fresh account filled with photos of Josiah and Claire, dated timestamps proving their affair. The caption under each one dripped with vengeful spite. That's not me, I said quietly. That's Autumn. Josiah's sister? Why would she? To discredit me. My laugh held no humor. Make me look unhinged before I can tell my side. Classic gaslighting. Lionel studied me for a long moment. There's more to this than a called-off wedding, isn't there? I hesitated. Lionel had been my mentor for 3 years, the closest thing to a father figure I had since Dad died. But trust felt like a luxury I couldn't afford anymore. He took my money, I finally said, my trust fund, all of it. Lionel's expression darkened. How? I signed it over, for the wedding. The admission burned. I was stupid. No, his voice was sharp. You were in love. There's a difference. He typed something into his computer. When exactly did the transfer happen? Last month. Why? Because I handle the corporate accounts, remember? Including the one Josiah used for client billing. More typing. And I've noticed some irregularities lately. My heart stuttered. What kind of irregularities? The kind that might interest the FBI. He turned the screen toward me again. Look at these transactions. Numbers filled the screen. Dates, amounts, account transfers. Most meant nothing to me until I saw it. A transfer to an offshore account, dated exactly 1 day after my trust fund withdrawal. He's been embezzling, Lionel said softly, using client funds to cover his tracks. Your money was probably meant to fill the latest hole before someone noticed. The room spun. How long have you known? I started suspecting last week, planned to confront him today. Lionel's eyes met mine. But he didn't show up for work, did he? No. My voice sounded distant. He's gone, with Claire. And your money. Lionel's fingers drummed the desk, which means we have leverage. We? You think I'm letting you handle this alone? He smiled, but it wasn't his usual gentle expression. I've got 20 years of forensic accounting experience and a serious problem with men who steal from women who trust them. Hope flickered, dangerous and bright. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting we do this smart, legal, airtight. He pulled out a notepad. Tell me everything. Start with Autumn's involvement. For the next hour, I laid it all out. The backup folder, the messages, the calculated betrayal. Lionel took notes, occasionally asking questions that revealed patterns I hadn't noticed. One more thing, he said as I finished. Did Josiah ever mention someone named Grayson? Grayson Mitchell? No. Why? Because he's been trying to reach you. He's a former client of Josiah's and Lionel's phone buzzed. His expression changed as he read the message. Speaking of Autumn, he turned his phone around. There on the screen was a post from Autumn's personal Instagram, a photo of me from yesterday, clearly taken without my knowledge, slumped against my car with wine bottles visible through the window. The caption read, "Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is admit you need help. Praying for you, M." The sympathy comments were already rolling in. Poor Melina having a breakdown. Poor Melina drinking her pain away. Poor Melina can't handle rejection gracefully. She's playing you, Lionel said quietly, setting you up to look unstable before you can expose them. I know. My voice was ice, but she made a mistake. What's that? I pulled out my phone, opening the backup folder. She forgot to check her location settings when she took that photo. See the metadata? She wasn't driving by my house randomly. She was parked there for 3 hours, waiting. Lionel's eyebrows rose. That's stalking. Yes, I smiled, and it felt like baring teeth. And now we have proof. The pieces were falling into place, but not the way Autumn expected. She thought she was writing my story, the sad ex-fiance's spiral into obsession. But she'd forgotten something crucial. Every story has two sides, and I was just getting started with mine. The coffee shop was crowded, but Grayson found me instantly. Something about the way he carried himself, shoulders tight, eyes scanning, told me he was as used to watching his back as I was becoming. Melina? He slid into the seat across from me. Thank you for meeting me. Lionel vouched for you, I said. That's the only reason I'm here. He nodded, pushing a manila folder across the table. These are copies of everything. Bank statements, emails, wire transfers. What Josiah did to you, he did to me first. My hands shook as I opened the folder. The numbers were staggering. Hundreds of thousands siphoned from client accounts, all carefully concealed behind legitimate-looking transactions. How did you figure it out? Claire. His mouth twisted. She was my assistant before Josiah hired her away. When she left, I started finding discrepancies. The pieces clicked together. She wasn't just his mistress. She was his accomplice. Smart girl. He leaned forward. But here's what you don't know. Autumn's been part of it from the beginning. My coffee turned to acid in my stomach. What do you mean? She's the one who approached Claire, offered her the job with Josiah. They needed someone on the inside who could manipulate the accounts without raising suspicion. He pulled out his phone, showing me a series of texts. Claire got sloppy, left these on the company phone when she quit. The messages revealed a carefully orchestrated plan. Autumn had been watching me for months before Josiah proposed, learning my routines, my vulnerabilities. The trust fund wasn't just a target of opportunity. It had been the goal all along. Why? The word felt like glass in my throat. Why go through with the wedding planning? Why not just take the money and run? Because of your sister. Grayson's eyes met mine. Eliza works at First National, doesn't she? In the fraud department? The room tilted. Eliza, My baby sister, who'd been so excited about the wedding, who'd insisted on handling all the financial arrangements. They needed her distracted, I whispered. Keep her focused on wedding details so she wouldn't notice the suspicious transfers. Exactly. Grayson's voice was gentle. And it worked. Until now. My phone buzzed. A text from Eliza. Lunch today? Need to talk about something weird at work. She's starting to notice, Grayson said, watching my face, which means they'll move soon. The offshore accounts are ready. Once that money disappears, it's gone forever. I stood up, suddenly unable to sit still. I have to warn her. Wait. He caught my arm. Think. If you tell her everything now, what's the first thing she'll do? Report it. The realization hit hard, and they'll know we're on to them. Let me help. He released my arm. I've been building this case for months. One wrong move and they'll vanish, with your money, my money, and probably half the firm's client accounts. My phone buzzed again. Autumn this time. Family dinner tonight? We need to talk about your Instagram posts. Everyone's worried. They're watching you, Grayson said quietly, waiting for you to crack, to do something impulsive that proves their narrative. The unstable ex who couldn't handle rejection. So what do I do? Play your part. His smile was sharp. Let Autumn think she's winning. Meet Eliza for lunch, but don't mention anything suspicious. Go to family dinner. Act appropriately devastated. While you do what? While I finish connecting the dots. He gathered the documents. Give me 48 hours. By then, we'll have enough to bury them all. I sank back into my chair, mind racing. What if they run before then? They won't, he sounded certain. Autumn's too invested in watching you suffer. Josiah won't leave without the rest of the money. And Claire? He paused. Claire's not actually pregnant. The laugh that escaped me was more like a sob. Of course she's not. One more thing. Grayson pulled out a final document. Found this in the firm's records. 2 years ago, Autumn tried to access your trust fund herself, claiming to be you. The bank caught it, but Josiah buried the report. My fingers traced the failed transaction attempt. She's been after my money since before I even met Josiah. Now you know who your real enemy is. He stood up. Question is, what are you going to do about it? I looked at my phone, at Eliza's worried text, at Autumn's fake concern, at the life I thought I knew unraveling thread by thread. I'm going to family dinner, I said finally. I'm going to let my sister-in-law comfort me, let her think she's won. I met Grayson's eyes. And then I'm going to take everything from her, just like she tried to take everything from me. 48 hours, he reminded me. I nodded, gathering my purse. 2 days of playing the victim, of letting Autumn think she'd broken me. I could do that. After all, I'd learned from the best how to hide my true intentions behind a smile. Autumn's dining room looked exactly the same. Family photos on the walls, the gentle clink of wine glasses, the perfect table setting. But now I saw the calculation behind every detail. The empty chair where Josiah should have sat, the way she'd seated me facing the wedding photo she hadn't taken down yet. More wine, Melina? Her smile was sympathetic, practiced. You've barely touched your food. I'm not very hungry. I forced my voice to crack slightly. Everything still tastes like ash. Eliza squeezed my hand under the table. My sister's presence was both comfort and torture, knowing what they'd planned for her, what they still might do. You'll get through this, Autumn said, reaching across to pat my arm. We're all here for you. My phone buzzed. Grayson, document secured. Meeting tomorrow, 9 a.m. Actually, I set down my fork, letting tears fill my eyes. I think I need some air. Excuse me. I fled to the bathroom, counting Autumn's footsteps behind me. 3, 2, 1. Melina? Her knock was gentle. Let me in, sweetie. Let's talk. I opened the door, face carefully tear-streaked. I'm sorry, it's just being here, seeing our photos. Oh, honey. She pulled me into a hug. Over her shoulder, I saw her phone on the counter, unlocked. Why don't you lie down in the guest room? I'll make you some tea. That would be nice. I sniffled convincingly. Could you tell Eliza I'll be out in a minute? Of course. She squeezed my shoulders and left, leaving her phone behind. My fingers flew across the screen, forwarding her recent messages to myself. There, conversations with Claire about bank transfers, screenshots of my trust fund balance, and something else, a photo of documents from my father's estate. My heart stopped. The timestamp was from this morning. Find what you're looking for? I whirled around. Autumn stood in the doorway, her mask of concern replaced by something colder. I was just looking through my phone? Amateur move, Melina. She stepped closer. Did you really think I'd leave it unlocked by accident? The air left my lungs. How long have you known? That you were playing us? Her laugh was soft. Since the beginning, the devastated ex-fiancé act? Please, I taught you everything you know about manipulation. Not everything. I held up my phone, showing her the forwarded messages. Like how you've been accessing my father's estate documents. Want to explain that? Something flickered in her eyes. You should have left it alone, Melina. The trust fund was nothing compared to what's really at stake. What's that supposed to mean? It means your father didn't die from a heart attack. She smiled, and it was terrible. He was getting too close to something at the firm, something that would have ruined a lot of people, including your precious mentor, Lionel. The world tilted. You're lying. Am I? Ask Grayson about October 15th, 5 years ago. Ask him where he really was the night your father died. Stop it. My voice shook. Just stop. You thought this was about money? About Josiah? She laughed again. Oh, sweetie, you're just like your father, so focused on what's right in front of you that you miss the bigger picture. Footsteps in the hall. Eliza, coming to check on us. Autumn's face shifted instantly back to concern. Feel better? She called loudly. The tea's ready whenever you are. I stared at her, seeing clearly for the first time the depth of her performance. Every smile, every sympathetic touch, every moment of our relationship had been carefully crafted. I'm fine, I called back to Eliza. Be right there. Autumn moved to leave, then paused. One more thing. That meeting tomorrow with Grayson? Don't bother. He won't be there. What did you do? Nothing yet. Her voice dropped to a whisper. But if you push this, if you don't back off right now, what happened to your father might look like an accident. What happens to Eliza won't. She walked out, leaving me gripping the sink, my reflection pale in the mirror. My phone buzzed again, another message from Grayson. Something's wrong. Don't trust anyone. Meet me tonight instead. I stared at the message, Autumn's words echoing in my head. October 15th, the night my father died. With trembling fingers, I typed, Where were you that night, Grayson? His response came instantly. I was hoping you'd ask that question, because the answer changes everything. I closed my eyes, listening to the sounds of normal life continuing in the dining room. Eliza's laugh, the clink of dishes, Autumn playing her part perfectly. The game I thought I was playing had just become something much darker, and I was no longer sure who was really pulling the strings. The parking garage was deserted at midnight, my footsteps echoing between concrete pillars. Grayson stood near his car, hands visible, eyes alert. He looked older than he had this morning, worn down by whatever truth he carried. Did anyone follow you? He asked as I approached. No, but Autumn knows about this meeting. Of course she does. He opened his car door, pulling out a thick file. Because Lionel told her. The betrayal hit like a physical blow. What? Your mentor, your father's friend, the man you trusted? Grayson's voice was gentle. He's been working with them from the beginning. Prove it. He handed me the file. Inside were surveillance photos spanning years. Lionel meeting with Autumn in hidden places, exchanging documents, orchestrating the long game that had destroyed my life. The night your father died, Grayson said quietly, he'd discovered irregularities in the firm's accounts, not just recent ones, patterns going back decades. He called me for help investigating. My hands shook as I turned pages. You were working together? I was an FBI informant. He showed me his credentials. Your father and I were building a case against a massive fraud operation. Lionel was at the center of it. But Autumn said you were there that night? I was, watching from my car when Lionel entered your father's office. His eyes met mine. 15 minutes later, your father had his heart attack. Bile rose in my throat. Why didn't you stop it? Because I didn't know what Lionel was planning. By the time I realized, he stopped, jaw tight. I've spent 5 years trying to finish what your father started. Getting close to Josiah, tracking the money, waiting for them to make a mistake. And I was the mistake. The realization was bitter. My trust fund, the wedding, it gave you the paper trail you needed. I'm sorry. He touched my arm. I wanted to warn you, but you needed me to play my part. I jerked away. Just like everyone else. No. His voice sharpened. I needed you to survive. Why do you think I reached out when I did? Autumn wasn't just going to take your money, Melina. Once you served your purpose, once Eliza processed those final transfers, they would have killed me too. The words felt numb on my tongue. Made it look like suicide after my fiancé left me. Exactly. He checked his watch. We don't have much time. Lionel's planning to move the last of the money tomorrow. Once it's gone, my phone rang, Eliza's ringtone. When I answered, her voice was terrified. Mel, someone's in my apartment. I think, oh God. The line went dead. We have to go, I said, already running to my car. They're going after Eliza. Wait! Grayson caught up. It's probably a trap. I don't care. I unlocked my door. She's my sister. Then let me help. He pulled out his phone. I can have FBI agents there in 10 minutes. She might not have 10 minutes. I started the engine. Are you coming or not? He hesitated for a split second, then jumped in. Your sister's complex is on Wilson Street, right? Take Montgomery, it's faster. As we sped through empty streets, my mind raced. If Lionel's involved, everything makes sense. The way Autumn knew about Dad's estate documents, how they always stayed one step ahead. Focus, Grayson said sharply. What's the layout of Eliza's building? Security cameras, entry points. Parking garage has cameras, but the back stairwell doesn't. Second floor, apartment 2C. My knuckles were white on the steering wheel. Card entry at the main door, but the garage gate's been broken all week. Good, Will. My phone buzzed. A text from Autumn. Should have backed off when I warned you. Whatever happens to Eliza now is your fault. Attached was a photo. Eliza tied to a chair. Lionel standing behind her with one hand on her shoulder. The timestamp showed it was taken 2 minutes ago. She's still alive. Grayson studied the image. They want something. They want me to stop digging. I took the next turn too fast. But they forgot something important. What's that? I pulled into Eliza's complex, killing the headlights. They taught me how to play their game, how to smile while plotting revenge, how to make people trust you right up until the moment you destroy them. Melina? His voice held a warning. You want your evidence for the FBI? I checked my phone one last time. A message sent to myself earlier from Autumn's phone, still unread. Let's give them exactly what they want. A desperate woman making one last fatal mistake. Because that's what they expected. The grieving ex-fiancé, pushed too far, coming to her sister's rescue without a plan. They'd never suspect I'd learned from the best how to hide a knife behind a breaking heart. Ready? I asked Grayson. He nodded, drawing his weapon. Just remember, whatever happens up there, don't let them see what's really coming. I smiled, and it felt like Autumn's smile, like Leonel's smile, like every false promise they'd ever made. Don't worry, I said. They taught me that too. The back stairwell was dark, our footsteps whisper quiet on concrete. Second floor, apartment 2C. My sister was behind that door, and with her, the architects of my destruction. Remember, Grayson breathed, we need them talking. Get them to admit. I know. My hand brushed the phone in my pocket, already recording. Play the desperate sister. Make them explain themselves. He squeezed my shoulder once, then melted into the shadows beside the stairwell. I faced the door alone, heart thundering, and knocked. Autumn opened it, concern painted perfectly across her features. Melina, what are you doing here? Where's my sister? I pushed past her into the apartment, letting my voice crack with fear. Eliza, she's fine. Lionel stepped out of the bedroom, his familiar fatherly smile twisting my stomach. Just helping us finish some business. Right, Eliza? My sister sat rigid in a dining chair, hands bound behind her back. Her eyes met mine, not fearful, but angry. They hadn't broken her. Let her go, I said. Whatever this is about, she's innocent. Innocent? Autumn laughed. She's been investigating the accounts, getting too close, just like your father. Our father, I corrected quietly. He was your father too, wasn't he? That's what I found in those estate documents on your phone. The affair, the secret adoption. That's why you hated me so much. Her smile faltered. Clever girl, finally figured it out? Not everything. I moved closer to Eliza. Like why Lionel helped you destroy my life when he was supposedly Dad's best friend. Because your father was a fool, Lionel said, his mask dropping completely. 20 years I spent building this operation. 20 years of perfect crimes, untraceable transfers. Then he started asking questions. So you killed him. The words tasted like acid. Made it look like a heart attack. I gave him a chance to walk away. Lionel's voice hardened. He chose wrong, just like you're choosing wrong right now. Am I? I pulled out my phone, showing them the screen. Because I just forwarded everything from Autumn's phone to the FBI. Bank records, conversations, proof of what really happened to Dad. It's over. Autumn moved faster than I expected, grabbing my hair and pressing something cold against my neck. A knife. Delete it, she hissed. Now. Can't. I met Lionel's eyes. Dead man's switch. If anything happens to me or Eliza, it all goes public automatically. She's bluffing, Autumn said, but uncertainty crept into her voice. Maybe. I smiled, feeling the blade bite deeper. Want to risk everything to find out? Because I've got nothing left to lose. You made sure of that. We could still work something out, Lionel offered smoothly. Money, a fresh start somewhere else. Nobody else has to die tonight. Like you worked things out with Dad? Eliza spoke for the first time, her voice steel. I saw the real autopsy report, Lionel, the one you buried. The poison was subtle, but it was there. His face changed. How did you access the sealed records? She laughed bitterly. I'm not just some bank clerk. I'm my father's daughter, and I've been building this case longer than you know. Understanding dawned in his eyes. You were working with Grayson. For 2 years, she met my gaze. I'm sorry, Mel. We couldn't tell you. Had to let them think they were winning. Sweet family reunion, Autumn snarled, pressing the knife harder. But it doesn't change anything. Delete those files or... The lights went out. In the darkness, several things happened at once. I drove my elbow back into Autumn's solar plexus. Eliza's chair clattered over. Lionel shouted. A gun fired. When the lights flickered back on, Grayson stood in the doorway, weapon trained on Lionel. 2 FBI agents flanked him. Autumn lay groaning on the floor, my knee in her back as I gripped her wrist, forcing her to release the knife. Melina Baker? One agent stepped forward. We've got your statement recorded. You can let her up now. I stood slowly, watching Autumn's face as the handcuffs clicked around her wrists. All her masks were gone, leaving only raw hatred. You really should have checked your phone's backup settings, I told her quietly. Dad taught me about digital security when I was 12. All those incriminating messages you deleted, they went straight to my private server. You played us, Lionel said, something like respect in his voice as he too was cuffed. Made us think we were winning until the very end. No. I helped Eliza up, hugging her fiercely. You played yourselves, got so caught up in your perfect plan that you forgot the most important thing. What's that? Autumn spat as they led her away. I looked at my sister, at Grayson, at the family I'd chosen rather than the one that had betrayed me. That real love, I said, the kind that makes you strong instead of weak. It's the one thing you can't fake. Through the window, red and blue lights painted the night. Somewhere, Dad was smiling. Justice had finally come home. Dawn painted the interrogation room windows as I watched Autumn through the one-way glass. She sat perfectly straight, her mask finally cracking around the edges, still beautiful, still poised, but no longer in control. Ready? Grayson asked quietly. I nodded, gripping the file in my hands. Not the FBI's evidence. That was already processed, sealed, headed for prosecution. This was personal. The door clicked shut behind me as I sat across from her. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Come to gloat? She finally asked. No. I opened the file, sliding a photo across the table. Come to return something. She flinched. The picture showed a much younger version of our father, holding a baby, her. On the back, his handwriting, my beautiful surprise, my second chance. Where did you get this? Dad's safety deposit box, the one you couldn't access. I pulled out more photos, more letters. He kept everything, Autumn. Every birthday card you sent before the adoption. Every school photo your mom allowed him to have. Her hands trembled as she touched the papers. He gave me up, chose his perfect family instead. No, your mother took you away. Threatened to expose the affair unless he stayed gone. I watched her face carefully. But he never stopped loving you, never stopped trying to protect you. Protect me? She laughed bitterly. He was going to destroy everything, the firm, the accounts, because he discovered Lionel was stealing from you too. I slid another document across, bank statements, transfer records. Your trust fund, the one your mother set up, Lionel emptied it years ago. Dad was trying to get it back. The color drained from her face. You're lying. Check the dates, the transfers, the account numbers. My voice softened. He died trying to save both his daughters. Silence stretched between us, heavy with 2 decades of manufactured hate. Why are you showing me this? She whispered. Because I need you to understand something. I leaned forward. What happened to us? The lies, the manipulation, the betrayal. That was Lionel. Not Dad, not me, and not you, originally. Originally? The first time you reached out to me, at that coffee shop 3 years ago? That was real, wasn't it? You wanted to know your sister. She looked away, but not before I saw tears threatening. It doesn't matter now. It matters. I stood up, gathering the photos. Because Dad believed in second chances, in redemption, even for people who've lost their way. I tried to destroy you, she said flatly. Helped kill our father. Some things don't deserve redemption. Maybe not. I moved to the door, then paused. But some things deserve truth, the full truth. What do you mean? Check the last page of that file. Dad left letters for both of us. I've had mine for years. I met her eyes. It's time you read yours. I left her there with shaking hands and tears finally falling, the weight of truth heavier than any revenge could be. Eliza waited in the hallway, arms crossed. Think she'll do the right thing? You mean testify against Lionel? Give back the money? I shrugged. Maybe, maybe not. But at least now she'll choose for herself. And if she chooses wrong, then we'll handle it. I linked my arm through hers. Together this time. No more secrets. Speaking of secrets, she grinned suddenly. Grayson's been asking about you. Don't start. I'm just saying, for an FBI agent, he's pretty obvious about his feelings. I'm done with obvious. I smiled, thinking of the quiet moments during the investigation, the way he'd looked at me when he thought I wasn't watching. I prefer honest. Outside, the morning sun warmed my face. My phone buzzed, a message from the estate lawyer. Dad's cases were being reopened, his reputation restored, justice finally wearing his name proudly. Want to get breakfast? Eliza asked. I know a place. Actually, I looked at the file in my hands, at the sister who'd stood beside me, at the future stretching unmarked before us. I want to go home, see those old videos of Dad, remember who we were before all this, before the lies, before we learned to tell them. I squeezed her hand. Sometimes you have to get lost in the dark to recognize what's true. We walked to my car together, leaving behind the shadows of what was for the promise of what could be. Autumn had taught me how to wear masks, how to hide behind perfect smiles and calculated words. But Dad, he taught me something far more powerful, how to take them off. And in the end, that made all the difference.